Good evening, my friends. Welcome to the Heroes Power Hour. We have so much going on. It's so good to see you guys. However it is that you're watching this, whether it's on iTunes or YouTube or RSS or your buddy's iPhone or whatever, don't care how you got here. I'm just glad that you're here. So good to see you guys. Here is the breakdown. Here's what we got going on. First and foremost, we have two parts to the show, okay? The very first part, we are going to be talking about news. We are going to be talking about just the general goings-on inside the Nexus. Any big happenings that you guys should be aware of, we're going to cover it. And the second part is our gameplay part, and the gameplay is probably one of my favorite parts. But I'm not alone on this show. I never am, ever, ever, ever. And I have some awesome people to introduce you, and a very special guest host that I just realized I didn't put your Twitter name over your... yeah. So right off the bat, Twiz screwed the pooch on that. So, anyways, but we'll get there in just a minute. First and foremost, the co-founder of Blizz Pro, Mr. Eldorian. Welcome back to the show, sir.
Hey, Twiz, how's it going?
Good, buddy. Good.
Hey, I got a question for you.
Talk to me.
Do you know what's worse than queuing up in Heroes of the Storm and you find out there's 4 supports in your tank?
What's that?
Going car shopping.
Ooh. That's true.
Screw that. Hate it. That's what I did all weekend.
Yeah. You know what, though? By the end of the match and the end of the car sale, you've done nothing but waste about 2 hours of your life. So.
And a lot of money.
That's true. Truth statement. So, directly on the other side of the screen, if you guys are even remotely familiar with the name Diablo, you will recognize this person on the Blizz Pro staff, direct from West March Workshop. It's Nineball Gamer. Guten Tag.
What's going on, Twiz?
Was that right? Guten Tag? Did I say that right?
Guten Tag.
Yeah. I've been working on my Spanish.
Yeah, ever so slightly. It shows.
It shows.
It's been paying off.
It's like Spanish with a Swahili accent, kind of. So, anyways, good to have you back, brother. Down and to the left, JFK style, we have the shot caller. Wow, was that? Oh, that was bad form. That was a thing that just happened. It was completely on accident, though. Our shot caller.
Way
too soon. Too soon. That happened so many years ago. Still too soon. Ballrag fan, BP from Blizz Pro. Hello, sir.
Hey, how's it going, man?
Good, dude. Good. Uh-oh, somebody's got their stream not muted. Is that our guest host? Our guest host? Okay, maybe it might be me for all I know. Anyways, without further ado, I'd like to introduce our guest host. Ready? I thought that was the end of the song. I tried to really plan it out like it was cool. There it was. Zeroshio HS. Welcome to the show, my good man. So good to have you here. Yeah, there you go. Oh, very nice. Very nice. How are you, brother?
I'm good. Thanks for having me on.
Absolutely, man. So let's talk a little bit. Who is Zeroshio? How did you find your way into the Nexus? How did you find your way here? Who do you know? What's going on with you, man? Let's talk.
I don't know.
I don't know how I got here.
It all started with Hearthstone a couple weeks ago. I won a small tournament and got a spot on another podcast, and then we did a 24-hour stream for a wonderful friend who's in the chat room, Mary Onwin, her eye surgery. She needs eye surgery to fix double vision, a condition called esotropia, and we played a lot of Heroes, we played a lot of Hearthstone, we played a lot of everything for 24 hours. I don't remember most of it, and made a huge dent in the money she needs for her surgery.
Awesome.
So that's where I'm at.
Good for you, man. What and I'm going to talk a little bit more about that in just a second. But what Hearthstone tournament did you win?
A worthy opponent hosts a seasonal Hearthstone tournament, and I was in the spring 2015 tournament and won it, and the winner gets to guest host on their show.
Cool.
And I've also, as a matter of fact, I was a guest host again last night. They brought me on a second time, so I obviously wasn't horrible. So it's been a busy 2 weeks.
Cool. Well, good for you, dude. Good for you. So glad to have you here. And the lovely lady that Zeroshia was just talking about is part of the Legends of the Innkeeper podcast. I believe you guys did something with the Well Met podcast, right? Well Met is Blizz Pro's Hearthstone podcast. Did you guys do something together with Legends of the Innkeeper? I thought I saw something on Twitter.
I think all we did was help promote their thing.
First, I was thinking somebody guest hosted on one of the other shows or something like. I obviously
not yet.
Okay,
could happen. Soon.
Not yet.
Not yet.
Okay. Well, sorry. Yeah, I obviously read the tweet wrong, or I'm still trying to get past that shot caller back into the left JFK style thing.
Now, we did have Kick Tripod on one of our casual Friday nights, but we don't usually stream that.
Okay.
Again, I talk like I'm on the podcast. I'm not. But I'm part of their Patreon group. We do kind of a casual Friday night where we all have a Mumble server. We get on, we hang out, play some Heroes, play some Hearthstone, whatever we feel like doing.
Sure.
It's just adding to the community, which is the important part.
Absolutely. Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Yeah, because at the end of the day, without community, I'm just a dude that sits in front of the computer and talks to nobody. So, which that's happened before.
Now you talk to tens of people.
I know. I'm like in almost in double digits, and that's including you four. So, anyways, well, it's very good to have you here, and it's good. It's going to be a good time. So let's talk a little bit about some Heroes news. This again is the first part of the show where we cover the news and things that are going on inside the Nexus or whatever. There was an announcement on Battle.net where global play has arrived to Heroes of the Storm. Now, what does that mean? What is global play? That means that you can now play on any server outside of China. I mean, all I wanted to do was play on a Chinese server, and they're robbing me of that. But it's okay. I'm going to get over it. But basically, if one realm is down, I guess for lack of a better word, if the Americas is down, you can hop in Europe, you can hop in Asia, you can hop on another server and continue to play. Now, none of the characters you purchase, none of your achievements, none of your any of that, none of your gold, none of that carries over. Okay, it's all strictly on whatever you decide. It's like Hearthstone. Hearthstone's the same way. Your cards don't carry over, your card backs don't carry over or anything like that. You're starting over basically. But I don't know. What are you guys' thoughts on this? Anything?
I personally like it because I've actually talked to people from Britain, and then the realization kind of dawned on us when we were talking on a Skype call, like, oh, we can't play together. And this was like a little while ago. It was T-Bone. And I'm pretty excited to be able to just jump in with other people. I mean, yeah, I'd like to bring my account with me, but, I'd find playing some free Heroes that week or whatever, and then being able to play when the servers are down is also an amazing boon. So I'm all for it.
I wish that your account level would at least carry over, though, because then if you're hopping over to play a new character, then you're not talent gated.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yes. I guess that's a problem.
That is
a good old talent.
It just means you need to level up on all of the servers now.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I got a lot of work to do.
Now, you know what, though? That would be a grind. And as we all know, Blizzard just doesn't design games that have grinds to them.
Yeah. Getting to level 10 on any hero definitely is just a quick trip around the park.
Exactly.
Oh, yeah.
Exactly. So, but no, you know what? I think it's cool, but I mean, for me, I'm one of those guys where I've got all of my chips in one pile. You know what I mean? Like, I don't need to. Okay, servers are down for another 4 hours. I'll go get something to eat and use a bathroom and whatever.
Yeah.
I don't need to play Europe or Asia or anything like that. So
I'm personally interested because there's always a different meta, like across regions, and be fun to go in there and see if I could learn something. So I'll definitely be trying it out.
Okay.
Yeah, I know Europe has a way different meta than America does. I know that for a while there, like America, you're always running 2 supports on everything, but in European and Asia, not so much. It's been quite the opposite. So I would see if that plays the same on their ladder during Quick Match or Hero League or anything like that.
Yeah, I'm reading through this right here. As far as profile information and purchases, if you decide to make a real money purchase while playing Heroes in regions other than your own, the experience should work just like it does in your home region. This means that you will use the same payment information, same pricing, and everything like that. So that's good that, it's not like everything carries over as far as pricing goes and stuff like that, because you get into other parts of the world and it's like, oh my god, I could buy Tychus for 4 million rupee. What
Nice.
Every time I hear rupee, I think of Legend of Zelda. Like, yeah, I could go bust some pots and get some money. That way.
Some rupee.
Well, we just have to all go through and petition Blizzard to open up the Hyrule server. So that way we can actually play over there on that region.
I'd spend too much time hitting chickens, though, to be productive. So.
Oh, fair enough. So, I don't know. It a little bit of a slow news week, kind of, sort of, but not really. That was one of the major things, though, that usually when all the servers go down for maintenance, everybody's just locked out of Heroes and, tough snot until everything comes back up. But not so much, which makes me wonder if they're going to keep what they're going to do with the maintenance schedules to enable. I mean, it's like every Wednesday is EU Day, and every Tuesday is NA Day, and every Thursday is whatever day has, or whatever country has Rupee Day, and I don't know. That'll be interesting to see. One of the other little bits of news, guys, and I thought this was kind of cool. For those of you who are familiar with a location called GameStop, they just picked up a line of Heroes of the Storm vinyl figures. Okay, and here's the thing: is the box itself? It says, and I'm sure you can't really see this. It's a mystery mini, which means you have no idea what you got in the box. You have no idea what hero you got. On the back side here, they've got all the characters, not all of them, but all the potential ones that you could get. There's an Arthas, a Raynor, Diablo. There's a Nova, Nazebo, Kerrigan, Tyrael, etc. There's Stitches, and then there's the Stitches skin that has like the frying pan and the eggs and all that to cook Stitches, whatever. Mm-hmm. And then there's the Murica Raynor, and then there's a clear one that's like a stealthed Nova. Now, I was a little miffed because I was like, I want Tychus, and there's no Tychus. So they don't have all the heroes on there or whatever. But I mean, here's it. They're like $7 something at GameStop, $8 by the time you throw tax in there or whatever. So you get this box. You have no idea what's in it. I've already gotten a couple of them. Here is Sonya, kind of what she looks like. And she's a little bendy. I'm sure I'll rip her head off if I'm not careful. Arthas looks pretty cool. And I'm sorry for the camera, but as my 4-year-old found out, he separates, not on purpose, but I can take his arms away from his body. I'll fix him later. And I got Kerrigan, kind of neat. Pretty detailed, actually. Yeah, they're lots of fun. So I'll take this. Now check this out. So here's what happens. You open up this box here. And you would say to yourself, oh, I'm going to look in the box and see what I got. Wrong. Because it's in a black bag. And you still can't see what you got until you open said black bag. So we open up said black bag. And we got Stitches. We got Stitches. Yeah. Yay for Stitches.
Woo.
So, kind of neat. I have Raynor too, but I think I lost Raynor to Snuggles. Yeah, Snuggles is my little mutt humper.
Now you're going to have a poop stained Rainer.
True statement. I will. I will. So, anyways, those are kind of neat. They're over at GameStop right now, and they usually have them sitting up on top of the shelf. The boxes, I think, come in. Let's see here. I think they're boxes of 24 that they have sitting on the shelf. So you walk up and you grab one. You have no idea what you're going to get until you open it. And like I said, they're about $8. And that's with tax and everything, tax, title, license out the door. So I thought that was kind of a cool thing, you know? I mean...
Yeah, Funko Pop is the one that makes them, I believe.
Yes.
And
Yep.
they announced them about 4 or 5 months ago. And I think this is just Series 1. So they'll have multiple series of these. So they will probably be releasing the other characters at some point, probably every 6 months or something like that. And I think they're not just at GameStop, like you can buy them any game store. I think they're up on Amazon, but when I looked on Amazon, they're like $10. So sounds like you might want to shop around, and GameStop sounds a little cheaper.
Okay. And also, chat room's calling me out. I said Sonya. I meant Nova. Okay, so there we have that. I've done this long enough. I know my heroes' names. I just screwed up on that one. Leave me alone. Stop looking at me. So
Get good.
Yeah. But I'll tell you what. No, I really want to get Tyrael and the America Rainer. They look pretty cool. So yeah, and you can do. I'm sure there's Google image searches. You can get a good look at the box and how kind of how they all look. But yeah, I thought that was kind of a neat thing that
we should set up some kind of trading website.
So there you go.
Like, hey, I got this Nova or whatever. You want to trade with me or something?
I got my third Nova. Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Good idea.
Absolutely. And again, it comes with this awesome little black bag that it all came in. So, and you get to keep that. I think that's free of charge. So.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. I mean, spare no expense. So, moving right along in other news, there's a Heroes of the Storm World Championship tournament announced. Irvine, California, on May 14th. The Nexus Portal will soon be transporting the greatest Heroes of the Storm players in the world to a new battleground, BlizzCon. And for those of you who have never heard of that, Blizzard Entertainment today announced the first ever global tournament series for its brand new free-to-play online Team Brawler. The competition will feature regional championship tournaments for the Americas, Europe, China, Korea, and Taiwan regions, with the top 18 teams duking it out at the Heroes of the Storm World Championship at BlizzCon, November 6th and 7th in Anaheim. So that has been announced. Stakes are high, kids. $1.2 million in cash prizes, including 500 Gs at BlizzCon. We covered this a little bit last week.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, that's $500,000, which I believe is, like I said, like $29.08 after taxes.
Mm-hmm.
So...
I mean, it's really encouraging to see all the money they're pumping into this. I mean, that is a huge cash pool for their major tournament, and it's only going to grow bigger. And I think kicking it all off with Heroes of the Dorm was huge. Like, they started with tuition, now the cash prizes, and it should be interesting to see this game grow over the next couple of months leading up to BlizzCon.
I kind of wish that they would do something very similar to how Valve does Dota 2 with the international, and how they have like a bunch of ways that the spectators can get involved, and not only get involved but also contribute to the prize pool itself. And I really wish that Blizzard would grab a hold of that, because I think it makes it much more exciting to, as a player, yeah, you get something out of it, but you also get to contribute to that prize pool and make it even bigger.
Mm-hmm.
Because they usually have like different items that you can get in game and stuff like that. I don't play a lot of Dota 2, but I remember all my coworkers play the heck out of it, and they talk about it all the time. So,
So I have a question. Okay, like, I'm not gonna lie, I'm new to this eSports thing. Okay, this thing that we know as eSports. Here's what I see so far coming out of Heroes of the Storm. I see that logo on the front of the Mayweather boxing fight. I see a game that hasn't even launched, quote, doing this at GameStop. I see $1.2 million prize pools. I see Heroes of the Dorm. Did Blizzard or anybody else go this big like when StarCraft first got into the esports scene, or are they really making like an over-the-top push for this game?
Over in Korea, yes. Here, not so much.
Okay.
Didn't Korea have McDonald's that had just a coverage of just Heroes?
I think it's China. Yeah, China. A whole bunch of
okay.
Chinese McDonald's are having a Heroes of the Storm makeover.
Wow.
I think that actually wasn't it. The Dota 2 started off like this. They did like their very first thing, like their debut was like a $1 million tournament.
Yep.
Wow.
Yeah, they're trying because they kind of dropped the ball early on, like with when Dota was made on the Warcraft engine. Like it was something that was made in their own backyard. They're like, oh, let's keep an eye on that. That's kind of cute. And then they're like, oh crap, this is making a ton of money. And I mean, it happened with StarCraft too. So I think a lot of the stuff they're trying to do is just be proactive and make sure if this grows to where they want it to be, they were right there, ready to start paying people out and getting people in and promoting it. And so.
Yeah, and one thing that Valve does a lot better, I think, and when I was saying that earlier, is they get the spectators a lot more involved with, especially being able to view the tournaments within the client itself,
Sure.
and then being able to listen to the shoutcasters that you want to.
Yeah.
Where I really wish Blizzard would do some of that, because I think that helps people like Twiz, who doesn't watch a lot of esports, helps him get into it more and more. Sure. But instead, Blizzard went the ESPN direction, which also isn't bad either. It's just a different way of doing it.
It's so it's so not having an esports background. It is so weird for me to try and grab onto the fact that like this kid just won, $500,000 and just stormed the stage at BlizzCon. And then his mom picks him up in the station wagon and they drive home. Like, it's so hard for me to wrap my mind around that. I get it. It's 2015, Twiz. I get it. But it's still just so, like, I don't know. It's just, it's hard for me to wrap my mind around. I mean, I grew up in the Michael Jordan era, and Larry Bird and all those, I'm obviously, I was a basketball guy. But yeah, I don't know. That's what I think of when I think of sports, and I'm trying to grasp onto this. It's just such a new thing. It's like, and I wonder, and I have a pretty open mind on a lot of things, but it makes me wonder, like, other people that are just never going to get it and never going to accept it. Like, how hard of a push is it going to have to be to get this to really take off and be like, oh yes, esports is a thing. Oh yes, it is a widely accepted by everyone type of thing.
It's going to be like 20 years.
You think so?
Yeah, like it's starting to take off now, and it's been around for a long time, but on a very small scale. But it's starting to take off now. But I think you're gonna have to get past like a lot of the older people, especially people from our generation, Twiz, us older guys that aren't 40 up, but that grew up around just Nintendo and playing Nintendo with our friends at home.
Yeah.
This was it, because we grew up that video games were just kids games.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
Like, and if you're anything like me, going and becoming a teenager, going to college, playing video games in our generation was very frowned upon. We got made fun of a lot for it.
Yeah.
I still did it because I didn't care.
Sure.
But a lot of teenagers and stuff these days aren't going through that same thing, because video games are for everybody now.
Right.
And that's the way it's been marketed for the last 10 years.
Right.
There was
Oh, go for it.
Yeah.
I know at our local Buffalo Wild Wings, they recently did a replay of the esports event for Heroes of Storm.
Oh.
And from what I heard, I actually just swung through there. It's huge response. And they had it on all the TVs, and people that never played the game before just sat and watched it and got really excited about it. So I mean, if it's going to happen, it's going to happen now.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, and I think about, like, just outside of the gaming thing, like, I remember growing up, you know, my grandfather was like, "Oh, we're not going to computers for our business. That's just nonsense." You know.
Yeah.
And they just got bigger and dang it, I didn't silence my cell phone. They just got bigger and bigger, and you couldn't ignore it. And you know, now you have a generation of kids that grew up on computers, you know? Like, I've got my 2 little boys, 4-year-old and 2-year-old. They're never going to fathom, they are never going to understand or believe or wrap their mind around what life was like without a cell phone. What do you mean you never had cell phones? What do you mean, you know? And I think that you're right, JR. I think that in time, it's just going to be a normal thing. But they've got to make the push now. They've got to invest the dollars now. Right. In order for it to come full circle.
Mm-hmm. I think, you know, it's one of its biggest problems is just going to be, you know, the old guard, as it were. It's just the people that are already there, entrenched in, like, the sports community, are going to have very hard times accepting it as, like, a competition. And until, you know, either they're able to change those people's opinions, or they retire and get replaced, that is just going to be a lot harder for it to go mainstream.
Sure.
Until then, it's kind of like at a market saturation with the people that already are on board with it, and you know, there's not a lot more that you can market to those people because they're already interested or they're not.
Sure. Well, I think at the end of the day, if you're sitting in front of your computer and you're like, I really want this esports thing to take off, and I really want this to be a thing, I think the best thing that you can do, as simple as it sounds, is just play the game. Because if you play the game, if you play Heroes of the Storm, okay, and here's what people sometimes forget, and this is what really chaps my ass a little bit, but people get wrapped up around the fact that, oh, Blizzard is just a money-hungry corporation taking my dollars. And what they don't remember or what they don't realize is, do you think they got on ESPN for free? Do you think they got $1.2 million donated to them to give away in prizes at BlizzCon? Do you think that, you know, that all of the stuff that you pay for gets paid forward to these events to make it bigger, to bring more people in, to, you know, to make this a bigger thing? And so, if you just want to support it and make this happen, just play the game. And if you like a skin, buy it. If you like a hero, buy him.
Yeah, and deep down, and people don't realize that we want Blizzard to take our money. Because if they take our money, they're going to make more quality products and keep pumping us with games and Overwatch and more heroes and more expansions. We need them to push that.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely, dude. Absolutely. I don't know. It's just a never-ending. It's not a never-ending thing. But I get into the game. I get into Heroes of the Storm, and I'm playing, and I'm thinking to myself, God, you know, I really like this game. I'm really, really hooked on this game. And I just hope it continues to grow. And if this is the direction that they're going to go, I don't necessarily have to be a huge part and know who all the pro players are and everything like that. I just have to know the game and support the game, and it's going to get bigger and bigger because of what they're doing on the backside. So
yeah. And there's very few like video game companies that go that far too, as far as like as engaging the community, doing things for the community, putting money towards charity, different charities, stuff like that. And not only that, but for their own employees.
Yeah.
Like every employee I know that works for Blizzard just absolutely loves it there. They get great benefits. There's not usually a lot of layoffs, stuff like that. You don't see that at all in the gaming industry. So to be able to support a company like that, that's not a bad deal, in my opinion. There's very few companies out there that are like that.
Oh, absolutely. I can't think of one. I'm sure there is. I'm sure there's instances and whatever. But I can't think of any other video game companies that actively do this stuff as much as Blizzard does. You know? Like, didn't they have the Hearthstone type of Heroes of the Dorm knockoff, but not really? Whatever it's called. They did... it's
Tespa?
Yeah.
Yeah,
you know?
they had the TESPA tournaments.
That's what it is. And, you know, they do that kind of stuff all the time. And not only that, but, like, even some of, like, the WoW pets and mounts and stuff like that, where they donate it to charity. They donate those proceeds to charity and stuff like that, you know? I mean, You just don't see a company that's doing that kind of stuff and providing that. I mean, usually it's like, okay, yeah, this company provides that kind of stuff, but when you work for them, it's like a sweatshop. You know what I mean? And Blizzard's not like that. Like, I don't understand how they do it, what the magic is behind it, but they make it work, and not only do they continue to give to everybody as an entertainment, but they provide for their employees at the same time at an astounding level. So that's very cool, you know? I don't think there's any real reason for people to be bitter about this, you know? I mean...
Well, a lot of them don't even have a leg to stand on because most of them cry free to play, you know, people are paying to win. But really, the only game that you can even make an argument that there is any sort of pay-to-win kind of thing is Hearthstone, and that's their game with their biggest player base. So obviously people don't care. And, I mean, like, even... They always make ways for you to bridge the gap. They never lock out content that is important to playing the game via money.
Yeah.
Which is the only thing that I ever have a problem with when you have to pay.
Yeah.
But you never have to pay in any of this. I mean, you don't want to drop a dime. You don't have to have skins. You can still play the game well. You don't want to drop a dime in Hearthstone. You can grind out arena runs and
absolutely.
catch fire in a bottle. You know, so
absolutely.
It's just,
and the heroes are cheap enough with the gold that you can. I mean, in no time. Even on the free to play rotation, you play 6-7 games with a hero. You got him to level 5. You got your 500 gold. Okay. And you're doing your dailies and everything like that. Like, you can have an arsenal of heroes in a very short amount of time, you know, but because they're not just giving them away like candy, then, you know, people got to whine because, well, they just deserve everything for free right now.
I mean, that's also one of those other things, the people that complain about that or about Hearthstone. It's like, well, obviously this is not the genre for you, because this is how every other game of this genre does it, whether it be, you know, Heroes, League. I guess the one exception would be Dota, because you have to, all the heroes are free, you just buy skins.
Sure.
But, you know, it's just, that's kind of how these types of games work. If you don't like it, then maybe you should play something else.
Yeah, maybe you can just take a leap. Yep, exactly.
Yeah, I know I have...
You don't have to play it.
I have one character that I purchased just because I think Kael'thas, the skin, just looks cool.
Yeah.
All the rest I've bought with gold just from grinding.
There you go. Yeah. It's not hard. And you know what? It's not even a grind if you enjoy playing the game. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
It's not even a grind. You're just playing the game and getting heroes for free just for playing. So it's kind of like Hearthstone when you just play the game and you end up getting gold that you can buy cards.
Yeah, Hearthstone's a little bit more of a grind, but Heroes is a lot easier, in my opinion, to get that grind.
Only because of Face Hunter.
Don't even get me started. Don't even get me started on that nonsense.
Yeah, don't get me started on Face Hunter. If you've listened to Well Met,
we've said those words enough on this podcast. We can go another week without having to mention that deck ever again.
Never again.
I barely play Hearthstone, and that already makes me just the anger, the flames,
raging. All right. Well,
Face Hunter's not even that good anymore, guys.
It's not. It's just annoying. It
still is just raging.
It's like it's the turd that won't flush, you know. So, anyways, but kind of slow on the news week and everything like that. And I'm also going to throw DJ Tyrant under the bus because he didn't get show notes, so we're kind of flying by the seat of our pants. So, but kidding.
Hey, see what happens, Jimmy. See what happens when we don't have show notes. We end up talking about Face Hunter.
Yeah, we talk about Face Hunter.
Now, don't blame me.
I think we had the best discussion that we've had on the show right now.
Absolutely.
So,
yeah. Absolutely.
It's going good. We should not let him write notes for us anymore.
Yes.
Right.
That's right.
We should just fire Jimmy.
Just fire Jimmy.
Fire Jimmy.
Oh, yeah. Okay. Let me get that started in chat.
And Zeroshi, we're actually going to have you change your name to DJ Tyrants. That way I don't have to change the overlay. And that'll be that.
Yeah.
Anyways, but...
Congratulations on your promotion.
Okay. All right. Before it gets too deep, guys, is there anything else that we want to bring up before we go to the... for hire, before we go to the second part of our show, aka the part that I love the most, the gameplay portion? Anything else you want to bring up?
There was two quick things. Well, we were going to go over the Kael'thas build real quick, also the open beta is here, and quick match has been interesting. to say the least. I mean, there has been an influx of toxic players, and my advice personally, just for dealing with that, is go into quick match expecting to work on a character you don't really know that well. Or so if you're new to the game, obviously go in to work on the game mechanics. If you're like some of us who have been playing for like close to 9-10 months now, or people who have even been in since the beginning of alpha, grab a hero you don't really know very well and start playing them, because odds are your experience within the game will carry you to a nice level, and then you'll get some knowledge on a character you might not really know, or you might understand the matchup better. Just take it as it comes this week, because I see a lot of people getting very frustrated, and I hate to see people walk away from this game simply because we're in a transition period right now.
Agreed. At the same time, though, the community does it to itself sometimes. I was just talking to somebody. I forget who it was. It'll come to me. But they were basically like, I was just in a match where this one dude like proceeded to die 3 times, and then he just sat. He just sat at the home base and talked about how lame this game was and how much better League of Legends was and everything like that. And it's like, oh, look at that. The community crapping its own pants again. How amazing. And that's the kind of stuff that drives players away,
Yeah. I mean, there's just nothing you can do about it in those situations, though. Like, it's gonna happen. People are gonna come over like, oh, it's open beta. I guess I'll get in. But they're going in with the expectations of this is no league, so I'm gonna make sure everybody knows that. And where's my surrender button? Because I'm playing with scrubs. And I mean, it's gonna happen this week and for a little bit. But I mean, overall, I think people are really embracing this so far, and the map variants and everything that happens within the game, like it's they kind of threw away the MOBA model in a way and said, we don't have to have a shop, we don't have to farm gold, we can actually let players get right into it and start fighting each other. Mm-hmm. And it's working out for the players who like it, so it'll come around to the players, and overall we'll end up with players that joined in and like the game, and it'll go well.
Yeah,
I really believe that.
Just do what I do. I just I have my option set to squelch everybody in chat, and I don't see any of it.
Yeah,
I turn it off for quick match myself now, and I turn it on for Hero League. I find it to definitely keep my patience levels at appropriate.
Yeah, I had one of my buddies. He just started playing. And I completely lost my train of thought. I forgot where I was going with that. I'll wake up at like 3 o'clock in the morning out of a dead sleep, and I'll be like, oh, I know what I was going to say.
I had a situation with a friend. I was over visiting their house. There were a bunch of them living together, and he said, "Yeah, I got a beta key, but I'm a League of Legends player. I don't like it." I said, "So you've played?" He said, "Well, no, I've seen coverage of it and I've watched videos." I said, "You'll be the first person to tell other people, take at least 30 minutes to try it if you can play it for free."
Yeah.
So at least do the same thing. So he did. Next morning, he comes downstairs and just says, "I hate you." and the whole day, 9 straight hours, just grinding out. He loves it. Yeah. So he's a convert.
Yeah. Well, you don't even have to try and convert people. I mean, if they're actually willing to give it a decent chance, then they might like it. And if they do, cool. And if they don't, then that's fine too. But as long as somebody gives it an honest to God chance, then that's all I'm asking. Give it a chance. And what's really funny is the fact that you don't see any Heroes of the Storm. Well, I don't see any Heroes of the Storm players who are like, "Oh my God, League of Legends is just terrible. This is the best thing ever." And if you play League of Legends, then you're just a subgrade moron and blah blah blah. You don't see that, but you see that on the other side. So I blame Greg Street.
We don't really have that caustic community that is associated with some other games.
Yeah.
It may happen, but I don't think it will. The Blizzard community is usually very, very supportive, and Blizzard's usually really good about trying to keep that down.
Oh, yes. That's what I was going to say. Okay, it's unrelated. It's unrelated to what we're talking about. So, go ahead if anybody had anything else they wanted to capitalize on that.
You just made things awkward. So.
Sorry. Okay, that just happened. Yeah, so I had a buddy who just came in, and he didn't realize. Now, if you guys watch a couple shows back, we talked about the disconnect feature where basically Blizzard stated that, you know, if you are a frequent leaver of the battleground, you get put into the debag pool, where you've got to play a game or several games in quick match with other debag players to get yourself out of that. And I got into a group with my buddy, and I see this little red triangle thing up here on the top right-hand side, and it's like, hey, your buddy's in the debag group. And so I asked him, I was like, okay, he's new, you know, and I was like, did you leave a game or anything like that? And he's like, no. He's like, I lost power this morning in the middle of a game, and so I had to reboot and everything, got back into game or whatever. But that's the second time that I've heard that happening, where your first disconnect, one disconnect, you're in the debag group. And if I remember reading the post correctly, it was like several disconnects, like your second or third one, and you get tossed in the pool. But I don't know. This is the second person that I've heard. First time, you're done.
Well, yeah, it's like a warning, and all you got to do is play one quick match to get rid of it without disconnecting. It's people who frequently end up in it, or who are frequently reported for harassment or bad play, who are going to end up like, this is just kind of like okay, let's make sure you're not, you know, screwing your teammates. Sure. Get through one game and play. And a lot of people, they're going to play a quick match anyways. It stinks when it locks you out of Hero League for a match, but yeah, I mean, like, I think eventually you might find people that have to, like, get through a game without harassing somebody, or might have their chat muted, or they might have to play like 20 games in this fashion or something. The people who are frequent, you know, violators of this. So that's just my guess, but I know the way it stands right now is, yeah, if you lose a game, or if you disconnect from a game or leave, whatever, you have to play a quick match to get rid of it.
Okay. All right. Well, I thought I'd throw that out there. That was something of note that I made earlier this week that I was like, oh, I should bring that up just in case. So Charlie, you have a build? Am I right?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Let's see. Hopefully I have this going right. Hopefully this works. It should work. I'm hoping it works. Okay, who are we discussing? What kind of build? Who are we working with this week? I want to follow along here.
I wrote up a build for the newest hero, Kael'thas, because I figure people are going to be buying them, wanting to play them, and I just gave some of my thoughts on it and what I like to do with him right now. The basic abilities that he has are all very, very good. I don't think he doesn't have very many wasted talents throughout his build path either, so it's nice to see them clean that up, where other heroes just kind of have like no-brainer choices all the time. Sure. You really have to think about what you want to do with him. So, and everything seems fairly viable, but the way I like to build him is basically focusing on the bombs, which is his W. And what that does is it puts a dot on him that ticks off for 3 seconds and does damage. Then it explodes and deals damage to everything around the hero that was affected with Living Bomb. And this can cause a lot of problems for teams that tend to clump up, especially with some of the later talent choices. So the main thing is you gotta use his Verdant Spheres properly. Like, this is his trait, and what that does is it buffs up his other abilities. I'm sure people have seen Kael'thas or are familiar with him, at least what he's doing, and it all hinges on Verdant Spheres. So you hit D, and then your Gravity Lapse can stun 3, or your Flame Strike has a bigger radius and does more damage, or your Living Bomb is free to cast and has
no cooldown.
No cooldown, yeah. So getting used to seeing that, whether you're fighting him or playing him, is going to be important moving forward for dealing with Kael'thas or using Kael'thas properly. He has 2 great heroics. I'm more partial to Phoenix myself, but Pyroblast is very strong, especially late game. If you spec into it with that level 20 talent and manage to snag like 4 or 5 people on it, It basically has a 10-second or a free cooldown. So you can do some interesting stuff with Pyroblast.
Wow. I had no idea that it has a 40-second cooldown. Interesting. Okay.
Yeah, Phoenix is 40 seconds, Pyroblast is 50. And then I believe, at level 20, basically, if you take Pyroblast and you buff it with the level 20 talent choice, its cooldown is reduced by 10 seconds for every enemy hero hit. So the dream is hitting all 5 and then just popping another one at them.
Sure.
Although, I mean, it tends to make someone scatter when they're being targeted by it. So.
Oh, absolutely.
But overall, I think he's a great character, and I'll go over the build that I like to use. But in no means is this just the build, because you can do a lot of stuff. And I was chatting with Zoratio before the show, and he goes a different route than I do most of the time. So we agree on our talent choice for the heroic. But yeah, anyways, Felon Fusion. Basically, what that does is every time you hit your D, you're going to heal roughly 5% of your health, and I find that to be the most useful. I know a lot of people like getting Mana Addict because of the extra mana that you get over the game, and you can kind of like stay in lane longer, maybe get some more kills. But my whole problem with that is not every game you're going to farm globes well, and he's squishy. Like, putting your neck out there for those globes could get you killed a lot.
Man, I wish that every time I hit my D, I did.
You're telling me, man.
I missed that.
I just get tired.
Was there an innuendo?
Are we even talking about the same thing anymore?
I don't know where to look. I don't know what's going on. Yeah.
But overall, throughout the game, I mean, 5%, and it has a short cooldown at 6 seconds, so it's... I tend to get a lot out of it, especially if I take Gathering Power at 4. It kind of helps me stay alive, so... but Mana Addict's good. I mean, if you can use it properly and you feed it up, I mean, you're going to have a lot of extra mana in game that, I don't usually have because I take Verdant Spheres, or I take Netherwind. Level 4 is when I take Netherwind. I apologize. And what that does is it makes his Gravity Lapse come out 30% quicker and have a much longer range. I find myself able to catch targets a lot easier with it. So I like that, but he has two other really great choices here too in Mana Tap. If you find yourself doing a lot of wave clear, or you like being able to return mana from team fighting, and Gathering Power is also amazing, especially if you're going to be like the main source of damage and your team can keep you alive. Gathering Power kind of stomps on all of them because it makes your ability so strong. But baseline, I typically go Netherwind. Level 7, Fission Bomb. This is the only level where I think like this is the only real choice, and that's because basically the explosion has a 75% increase on his Living Bomb, which makes the explosion almost as powerful as the 3 tick-offs from the dot that Living Bomb applies. So it really ups your damage output overall, especially if that explosion hits a bunch of people. Level 10, I take Phoenix. It's really good for zone control. A lot of maps. I mean, Sky Temple, Cursed Hollow, Blackheart's Bay, Tomb of the Spider Queen. You're going to be fighting in these specific spots all the time, whether it's turning in gems, fighting over tribute, and having something there that's almost like another body that's just putting out damage that says, you can't go here unless you want to get hurt. And that's why I like it so much. And if you're fighting under your towers, it can...
absolutely
catch people out. So,
yep.
Anybody can jump in here too if you disagree or you have any comments or anything. I'm just rolling along here.
That's cool, man. No, you're nailing it. I mean, yeah.
Okay. Level 13, I take Chain Bomb. This basically means that Chain Bomb, when it explodes, any nearby targets hit by the explosion will then get a stack of Chain Bomb. The thing that's commonly misunderstood about this is that when you make a Chain Bomb, when you hit W, think of that, or when you hit Living Bomb, think of it as Living Bomb A, and then when it explodes, it applies Living Bomb B to targets. Living Bomb B can never spread a second time, and so what you have to do, basically, what I like to do is I put a Living Bomb on somebody with my Verdant Spheres activated, so it's free, no cooldown, and then I put a Living Bomb on someone else. That way I have 2 Living Bomb A's running around the map, and when they explode, they both have the chance to apply Living Bomb B.
Yep, that's exactly right. It's like I mean, I played a Warlock in WoW, and as Affliction, you're basically dot tab, and that's kind of how this is. Especially when your dots, because I thought there used to be one where when one dot was over with, it did an AOE damage, dealing damage to other whatevers. So that was pretty much the same premise where you would basically tab dot. So that's what I equate that to. That's how I wrap my mind around this.
Yeah, and that's a good way to put it, because I mean, yeah, if you're familiar with Affliction Warlock, obviously you know how to use dots. So, and that's the key for this, I think, with his damage overall. Backdraft is what I take at 16 because of the giant. It's a 40% slow for 2.5 seconds. That's a long time and a big slow. And that's every time you're. I apologize for my cat. Every time your bomb explodes, basically, it kind of secures you kills a lot. Like, I find that using the other choice that seems to be really popular that I see a lot more people take over Backdraft is Ignite, and that makes it so your Flame Strike automatically applies a bomb. And it is more damage overall. Your numbers are going to be bigger, but you're going to secure a lot more kills with Backdraft. Especially someone's fleeing, they run to their friend to get a heal, the bomb explodes, they're both hit by it now because of Chain Bomb, and then they're both slow, trying to get away, and your team can often capitalize on that a lot easier than you putting a bomb on for free on the start of the team fight.
And 2.5 seconds is an eternity when you're trying to get away.
It really is.
Oh, yeah.
That's a big slow 40%. So and it definitely does work. Ignite is not bad. Also, the Mana Shield one you take at this level. If you took a Mana Addict earlier, you might want that shield, especially if you find yourself the focus of someone like Nova.
Yeah.
You're not wrong to take that. He has a lot of good talents at this level. So.
Yep.
Have you ever thought of a situation to take Gravity Throw? Because I've played with it. Sometimes I like it, but most of the time I don't.
Refresh me on what Gravity Throw is, because I don't have the...
Increases the duration of Gravity Lapse's stun by 33% and causes it to instantly destroy minions.
Yes. That's one of those ones where I'd like to see that moved a little bit, although it seems unfair if they would. So it's really good for wave clear and people who are trying to hide behind their minions to escape a Gravity Lapse stun combo. The only problem I have with it is at level 16, you're going to see a lot of like grouped up team fights. You're going to see tanks running in on the engage and stuff. The minions become way less of a factor at that point in the game. And
I agree, but with Verdant Spheres, you actually hit 3 of them. So you'll clear out 2 minions and you're stunning the hero for additional amount of time. That's where I found it's useful. And it will kill the catapults immediately.
That is interesting. I haven't played around with it but once, and to be honest, I accidentally took it that time. So, but
I only use it. I only use it when I'm behind like a level, or we're behind quite a few towers.
I could definitely see it being used there. Yeah, especially insta kill on catapults is pretty big. So, I could definitely make a case for that. It's not a bad, like I said, he has a lot of good talents here.
Yeah.
Like, there's very few wasted levels. 7 is the only one I think there's really no argument on. All these levels, he has good talents that you can take.
Yeah.
Level 20, I take Bolt of the Storm. I mean, it's just Bolt of the Storm. It's good. It can save you. It can provide you favorable positioning to get an enemy killed or get away from an enemy killing you. And
he's got no escapability other than maybe firing off a tornado to keep you stunned while but outside of that.
I always take Bolt of the Storm unless we get to level 20 and we're pushing core at that point, and then I take Rebirth, because being able to pop that Phoenix, so you hit that keep, it goes down, and then you immediately push it right into core immediately without having to wait for cooldown. That's just great.
Yeah, there are definitely times where I take Rebirth myself, and that's kind of like an if you're in a head thing. Just to have a little fun and do some extra damage too. I mean, it's nice, but I
think there's definitely a seat for arcane power.
Yeah, we actually did some math on that. It's difficult to use arcane power a bit because there's the way it works. Like, it has to hit. It has to hit, like, if you use Pyroblast with arcane power, which is obviously what you would be trying to do if you took arcane power. The arcane power the Pyroblast has to connect while the arcane power is active for it to trigger. You can't activate arcane power, fire off Pyroblast in the last second of arcane power's activation, and then hope to get the increase 15%.
I wonder if it affects your Phoenix though.
It definitely does. There is a damage increase.
It does, but it's not. It's not really worth taking if you take the Phoenix because of the damage. You're getting an extra 15%. I mean, it's
15% for 5 seconds.
That tick is only 10, it's not as beneficial than when you take Pyroblast.
Yeah. Yeah, the main thing I like about Arcane Power, honestly, is the 50% mana refill. Just because I don't take I don't take Mana Addict early personally most of the time, so it's nice to really top off Kel and let him stay in lane for a fight.
Sure. Okay.
That's just me.
Cool. All right. Well, sounds good. Sounds
Hey,
good.
We had a question in the chat room. Can you cast Pyro and then activate Arcane Pyro right before it hits?
Yes, that's how it works. It has to be active while the Pyroblast is connecting because it increases the ability power when you're using the abilities when they're connecting. So, yes, that would be the proper way to use it.
Okay. Coolio.
And that's pretty much all I got. He's a spacing character. Just play him safely and try to blow up high priority targets because I feel like he's an anti-assassin. He does a good job of killing characters like Nova, Jaina, characters who are in the back. They're bursty, they're squishy. He does a good job of getting in there. The problem is you don't want to give up your positioning for that. You don't want to play stupid to get one death.
Sure. How long? What was it? What was I gonna say? How does? I'm not even gonna go there. Not even gonna go there. I'm gonna start a Kael'thas war is what I'm gonna do. So I'm not gonna start that war. So, anyways, well, is there anything else? Anything else we want to talk about or bring up before we blast into part 2?
Sounds good to me.
No, good. All right, guys. So we're gonna kick off segment number 2. This is the only one that's downloaded. Yeah, we can talk about this real quick. This segment of the show is the only thing that's available on iTunes. The gameplay is not on iTunes. We got a 5-star review that said the gameplay portion is not uploaded to iTunes. They gave us 5 stars, but that's all they said. Now, a couple of reasons, guys. Number one, we were trying to cut down on the download size because it's like 4 gigs to download one episode. But also, like, there's our server and our hosting and stuff like that, and with the bandwidth that's being used, it's like it's extra money in order for us to handle the bandwidth load of all the downloads and stuff. So we just put it on YouTube and let YouTube worry about that. So you can watch it there. There's programs that you can use to download YouTube videos and take it with you. Just saying.
And I apologize for that, but it just really comes down to the pocketbooks as far as paying for our server and whatnot. The cost was going to exceed what we actually bring in, so it's a no-brainer for us.
Yeah, yep. So, anyways, but segment number 2 is coming right up. We will be... Uh-oh, I screwed that up. Somebody stop it. Okay.
Uh-oh.
We're good now. I almost screwed it up, so we'll be right back. Just a minute. Hang in there, chat room. See ya.